Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we jump in, just want to introduce myself quickly. My name is Christy Falteruso. I am the Chief Customer Officer at Client Success. Today, we are going to be kicking off with our summer webinar series. So for those of you who have been joining, thank you and welcome back. If you are new to this series, welcome. We hope that you'll enjoy today's content. So before we jump in, I just want to cover a few logistics for those of you who, again, have attended before. These are the same logistics we cover every week. So just a reminder, this is part of a webinar series. So all you have to do is register once and you'll have the ability to attend all of the sessions. All sessions are recorded, so do not worry. I know that we've had a couple delays with marketing. I apologize. So some of the recordings have been delayed in getting out, but please rest assured they'll all be on our YouTube channel, our Client Success YouTube channel, as well as our website. So you'll be able to find all of the recordings there. But we are going to ensure that the recordings are being emailed out to all of the registered attendees. So if you're here, you'll obviously be receiving a copy of it. If you can't be here, but you registered, you will also be receiving a copy. So just be patient with us. We'll try to get that out by the end of the week. All of our webinars, so toolkits, templates, any of the decks that were shown, any resources will also be made available to you. So do not worry. You don't need to feverishly take notes and screenshots. We'll be sharing that information with you. All of that can be found on our website. So you can head over to clientsuccess.com/library to go find all of our resources from this webinar series and previous series as well. We like these to be engaging, so please use the chat functionality. We love to watch the conversation. So as Donna is presenting today, I'm sure she's going to have tons of goodies for us. Please head over to the chat. Make sure, again, that you've got it enabled to everybody unless there is something specific for me or Donna. Otherwise, let's just keep the conversation going in the chat. We do try to keep the chat on theme. So please try to have conversations that are relevant to the content that we were talking about today. I know there are so many things going on in customer success we'd all love to chat about, but for all intents and purposes, we'd love to just keep it tied to the topic at hand. Of course, if you have questions, we're going to reserve some time at the end of our session today to get to some Q&A. So please use the Zoom toolbar. It has a Q&A functionality. If you do have questions that you'd like for Donna to answer at the end of our session, please drop your question there. And as long as time permits, we will get through as many questions as possible. So just a friendly reminder, if you are not familiar with Client Success, we are a customer success management solution. So we are a software company. I know so many of you think of us through our thought leadership and our content, and we love you for that. But we also do have a technology platform. So we help our customers manage from, we say, new to renew, that entire post-initial lifecycle management. If you're not familiar with Client Success and you're interested in learning more, you can head over to our website at clientsuccess.com, check us out and request a demo. If you'd like to chat with me about Client Success, I'm happy to have those conversations, as will Dave Blake, our CEO. So please feel free to reach out to any member of Client Success if you're interested in learning how we can help you manage your customers. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, today's webinar is part of our Customer Success Thought Leader Summer Webinar Series. Yes, this is the longest title I could possibly imagine to fit on a slide, but it really is encompassing exactly what it is. From this entire summer, starting June 20th through August 29th, we are featuring every single week a new industry thought leader, tackling new and compelling topics that we really want to make sure the customer success community is thinking about, ideating on, and hopefully sharing information that's going to help push and propel you all forward. So for today, I am joined by the lovely Donna Weber. And so, hi, Donna, how are you?
Greetings from California. I'm doing great today. Thank you, Christy.
We are so thrilled and so honored to have you. And so, Donna, I know you've got a ton of great stuff for us today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen because nothing I have is as important as what you're going to have for us today. But Donna, let's get started. Let's tee off, introduce yourself to the community here today.
Well, first of all, thank you for including me in this illustrious group for the webinar summer series. And let's dive in. So the focus for today is the high touch versus tech touch debate is over. It's time for a hybrid customer success. So I'm just going to open up my chat. Let me just get to that. I always
you do that, Donna. I'm going off camera.
Okay.
You've got the show. I'll be back for Q&A.
Thank you. Okay. So how many of you are finding this resonates? Does this look familiar? We're going to have to do more with less today. So you type in the chat, familiar, or raise your hand. But it seems like this is the tone across customer success today. So we're going to talk about this and how we need to scale. We're going to look at digital customer success and are you digital ready? And then we're going to talk about how you can start scaling, how you can do more with less starting today. So let's dive in. Okay, so this is what we're going to dive into. Describe the benefits of hybrid customer success. We're actually, the first thing is describe the challenges with digital customer success. We're going to look at how can you apply some digital moments in a high-touch customer, and how are you going to apply some high-touch moments in a self-paced journey. Let's mix it up. So just a bit about me. My name is Donna Weber, and I'm the author of Onboarding Matters. If you haven't had a chance to take a look, dive in. I didn't see anyone joining from Brazil, but the book just released in Portuguese for the Brazilian customer success community. So I'm excited about that. And these are some of the companies that I've worked with in my career, worked for in my career, and then a handful of companies I've worked with in my career. And I've been doing my own business, my boutique consulting for over 7 years. And when I'm not helping companies create customers for life, I just love the outdoors. And this is a photo of me whitewater kayaking on the American River, just east of Sacramento in California. So if you've ever been kayaking or rafting on whitewater, type in rafting or kayaking in the chat. And if you haven't, I encourage you. Okay, we got lots of rafting going on. It's pretty fun and scary. So I like to be a little bit challenged. Okay, so I do like the adrenaline. So this is what I do. I help companies and professionals get to the next level. What got you here will not get you to the next level. And so it's all about transforming new and existing customers into loyal champions and helping you scale customer success so you can do more with less. And if anyone wants to connect offline about kayaking and rafting, please reach out on LinkedIn. So let's talk about scaling. Now, I'm sure you're having to do more with less today. We've heard that already. And so the challenge is, how are you going to scale? And let's explore why. It's because the scales have tipped, especially in high tech, especially in startups. We went through a period where it was growth at all costs. It was investments into your companies to grow sales, to keep getting new logos, new customers. And there was a lot of money thrown at sales and marketing to get that kind of top line sales. But things have changed over the last year. You probably noticed. Now the focus is on profitability. And that means you have to examine your cost. Profitability is where you look at your income minus your expensive. Growth is really just looking at income, at the new revenue, right? But now we're having to look at what's it costing us. And so you're being challenged to look at your costs. You're being challenged to look at what you're doing. Now, this means we're kind of in a customer success 3.0. And folks like Christy and myself have been working in customer success since the beginnings. Customer success 1.0 was very reactive. It was running around doing whatever customers wanted and needed. It was often waiting for customers to have problems and then jumping in to be the hero. And I talk a lot about that. Customer success 2.0 was being a lot more proactive, designing playbooks, designing processes, customer journeys, so that we can really guide customers to success. But what happens, what I've seen with the companies that I work with all across the globe, is they often get stuck in a high-touch approach to engaging customers and ensuring that customers reach their goals. And the reality is, I've been shocked to see when I work with companies individually, when I talk with customer success professionals, when customer success professionals join my orchestrated onboarding masterclass, I see customer-facing teams spending so much time, so much care, pouring so much love on customers that they are actually costing the company more than what the customer is bringing in new revenue. And so what's happening is companies are reacting against that. All right, so as a result, we need to look at what we're doing. So we're going to explore these different touch types. So let's just start with, well, what are all these different touch types that we talk about in customer success? So first we have that white glove, high touch treatment. And that's providing a very close relationship with customers, generally working one-to-one, assisting them with implementation, solving customer problems, and a high touch approach. A customer success manager will probably have a low ratio of accounts that they manage, 5, 10, 20, 25. They're really guiding customers every step along the way. The next is we have a lower touch. And that's where we start looking at, can you give some one-to-many relationships, one-to-many moments where you can start to scale customer success. And that might be where you have a pool of customer success managers that engage with accounts, or it might be where customer success managers have hundreds of accounts, right? And they're kind of engaged, but they might need some self-paced kind of ways to really fill in the gaps. And then we have this digital touch, which is represented by the robot. Now, digital touch is where you really automate that engagement with customers. And so the CSMs and customer facing teams are not directly involved in those customer interactions. And, just like I would say last year, everyone was chanting product-led growth, PLG, PLG. Now everyone's starting to chant digital customer success. And if you're at Gainsight's customer success conference Pulse earlier this year, that was the theme. So you're probably being challenged to shift from that high touch and jump right over to this digital touch. And it's because treating every customer with that special care, with that white glove treatment, is really expensive and time consuming. And that might feel good, but it's no way to run a business unless you're really charging for it and delivering that bespoke experience as part of your value that you provide, that part of your value prop. So let's look at hybrid customer success. And this is something I'm really encouraging companies to explore. And thank you, Olivier, for agreeing. Okay, so let's talk about digital readiness. Now, while digital customer success is a hot topic these days, many companies are not digital ready. So what is digital readiness? Digital readiness is defined by the level of readiness that your team, that your organization can transition into digitized workflows enabled by technology. Now, the current trend is to go fully digital. We got ChatGPT, and let's go off roaring, right? However, it takes time and money to build an impactful, self-paced journey. The reality is it'll probably take you 12 to 18 months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to really dive in to digital customer success successfully. So as a result, I'm guiding companies toward a hybrid approach. And the hybrid approach doesn't mean it needs to be hybrid forever, but what are you going to do while you're building that digital journey? If you just slap something together, it may not be successful. So let's explore what hybrid customer success is. So it's all about delivering that right touch to the right persona at the right time, so they obtain value and they get measurable results. Okay, so hybrid touch is about looking for moments where you can really dive into that self-service, that you can deliver some one-to-many experiences. It's all about mixing things up. It's about trying things out. It's about scaling right here, right now, and not waiting till that digital customer success is ready to be deployed for everyone, for everything. Okay, so by using digital channels, you can automate basic and repeatable tasks so that you can free up your time and provide that personalized engagement just when it's needed. And at Gainsight's conference at Pulse, they talked about, let's up-level all of us in customer success so that we can provide more value to customers. So that's what hybrid customer success and digital customer success is about. It's about really delivering that higher value, to deliver higher customer satisfaction, loyalty, and value. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Here's what hybrid customer success looks like in practice. So digital moments in a white glove journey. So I worked with a company based in the UK, and they're a big data platform, and they have a white glove approach when working with customers to extract, transform, and load customer data. Now, their platform is so complex that they have technical success managers, TSMs, instead of customer success managers. They're personable, they're smart, they're data scientists, right? It's hard to find those kind of unicorns. And they help customers gain insights to build machine learning and artificial intelligence use cases. During onboarding, the TSMs were consumed with that one-to-one experience and with every new customers. And they were not just helping them with their data, they were also teaching them, here's what extract, transform, and load looks like, ETL. Here's what our platform's like. Here's how, giving them concepts around their data. And so I said, you guys are too smart to be doing all this basic repeatable stuff over and over. So what we did was we injected some digital customer success in the form of self-paced learning so that the customers could learn all those fundamentals on their own. And then those TSMs could be the specialist focusing on what's unique and special with every customer. And now it elevates them in their expertise and also how customers look at them. They're no longer doing these basic things. Now they're like the specialists. They're like the surgeons going in to solve the problems, and they elevate the experience. Okay, so that was injecting digital moments into a high-touch white glove experience. The result is that now the customers can onboard and engage more quickly, and each TSM can handle more accounts with less effort. Okay, next, let's look at some high moments in a digital journey. Now, this company is also a big data platform based in the US, and they needed to scale for extraordinary growth. And I helped them to define a self-paced customer journey to handle huge volumes of their customers. And what they were finding when I interviewed their stakeholders internally, and when I interviewed their customers, I kept hearing the same thing over and over. Users need to ask questions and they need to get answers. And the reality is their users they like their data scientists, data analysts, data admins, and they actually really like to learn on their own and they like to figure things out on their own. But there's moments where they drop off, they get stuck. And in those moments, they need help, right? So how are we going to do that in a self-paced journey? And what I learned from interviewing customers was to inject some in-app chat. So now within the product, when they get stuck, they can go on chat and ask the questions and get the answers they need to continue driving them along that value journey. Otherwise, they drop off, they give up, they lose hope, they no longer continue. And so now they get this high-touch interaction. It's within a self-paced journey, and also for the company, it supplies them the information to learn where customers are getting stuck, so they can continue to improve the customer journey. And this company is based on a consumption model, so and built on a land expand growth strategy. So that's really going to drive customers. If they can stay engaged, they're going to consume more and they're going to expand, and it helps everybody to be more successful. All right, now let's look at some low touch moments. So we've talked about digital moments. We talked about high touch moments. Now, what about low touch moments? Now, this is a company based in Canada. We have several folks from Canada here. And this company does like photos for adventures, just like, actually, it's exactly like, I'm just going to jump back to this slide here. This is their customer. So here there was a company poised on a big rock overlooking this rapid called Troublemaker, and they take photos in those exciting moments. Maybe you're bungee jumping off of a bridge, you're whitewater rafting, doing something exciting like that. So those are their customers. And they have these high seasons, let's say in the spring and summer, where they're trying to onboard and get all their customers up to speed and be successful for these seasons. And they were trying to do this one-on-one onboarding and engagement and totally burning out their teams. And so what we did was a one-to-many approach where during this high season, we get everyone, all the new customers in a customer cohort to learn together through some online learning, live online learning opportunities in a customer cohort, rather than trying to do it all one by one. Okay, so this way we can scale the onboarding. It also builds community rapport across the customer base. So those are 3 examples of a digital moment in a high touch in a tech touch, and a low touch in a high touch. All right, so let's look at 3 ways you can start 3 ways to start hybrid customer success right now. You can step away from this webinar and start exploring. 1 is to think outside the segment. Now, I know that we assume that all enterprise customers get that high touch and all the small customers get a digital touch. I want you to throw away that assumption right now, because sometimes your smallest customers need the most help. Sometimes your largest customers, you're actually taking too much of their time. So think outside the segment and start looking more at where your customer-facing teams are doing basic, repeatable things over and over. Be curious and explore a hybrid approach. Consider the moments where high touch can really drive customers forward to obtain value in your product, no matter what segment it is, and automated touches to really keep customers engaged at just the right time. Next is to create a value journey. So rather than just having meetings, because again, they're high touch, they're an enterprise customer, create a value journey where you know what customers need when, and you know the personas need. And this might mean some automated email, some email campaigns. It might mean some in-product guidance. It might mean some webinars, online learning, courses in your academies. But you want to not just give them information, you want to deliver transformation. So you don't want to just throw information at them, but let's say so let's go back to that. No, actually, this is a different company. I worked with a company in Australia that provides software for amusement parks. So for example, with this company, they found that when companies when their customers use the digital waivers in their platforms, they are sticky. So rather than hoping customers figure out, like maybe it takes them 3 to 6 months to figure out, there's a digital waiver in their module in the platform, let's try to use that. Instead, you want to drive that value journey so they use those digital waivers right away. You're delivering value and you're ensuring that they're going to stick around. And so how can you start scaling? You start by examining where you and your team are doing basic, repeatable tasks across customer engagement. You want to ask yourself, you want to ask your teams, where are we doing the same work over and over? Just like those technical success managers, we're spending a lot of time training the basic foundation, the fundamentals over and over. And then you want to explore simple ways to automate those processes. And you want to look at some one-to-many approaches and we'll talk about what those look like. The thing is to try stuff out, see what works, keep the process going, experiment. Now, just here's an example for myself. I deliver my orchestrated onboarding masterclass, and I started by doing everything myself. I like to do that when I'm doing something new, but eventually all that manual work by myself, because I guess what, I'm a team of one, it started to really weigh on me. So I looked at some software tools that can help me. I looked into learning management systems, but the value of having done all that basic repeatable stuff myself over and over meant I really knew the requirements. I knew what I needed. So as a result, I just mapped out my process of all the things I do manually. And then that helped me to define my requirements. And then I looked at some learning management systems to help roll that out. And I've done that very successfully. So that's a way I went from doing basic repeatable tasks myself to implementing a tool to help scale that. So here's some one-to-many approaches that you can look at. So this is something to really explore. So one, self-paced courses or even a learning management system. I'm not doing self-paced in that. It's a live online course, but that did help me scale. But self-paced live online courses, those are great ways where if every customer success manager is really engaging every new customer, is trying to show them how to use your product, then that's a great place to start. In product guidance, that's a great tool to look at where you're guiding customers along value journeys right in your tools. In product chat, we talked about that already. What about a community where your customers are helping each other, where you don't have to actually be a blocker in the way? We talked about those live online courses, webinars, welcome emails, email campaigns. Type in the chat if there's other ways that you know about delivering a one-to-many approach that I haven't included. Office hours, that's a great idea. Thank you, Jan. Good to have you here. So while others type that in, so I want to emphasize that the high touch versus the tech touch versus, digital success is over. It's time to embrace a hybrid touch where you deliver a great customer experience regardless of what customer segment they're in. You focus on the customer and what they need when they need it. Some of your customers really need hand-holding. Sometimes those smallest customers need the most help. Sometimes those large companies have the resources they need to be successful, and you just need to create that journey. Sometimes the personas, aren't technical at all and need some extra help. Sometimes they're super technical and they just want to figure everything out for themselves. So the key is to know your customers and to know what they need and how they want it. So I learned this quote from my colleague, Caleb Zimmerman. We teach courses together on the Sales Impact Academy platform. And this was originally from Isadore Sharp, the founder of the Four Seasons, who is quoted as saying, systemize the repeatable to humanize the exceptional. Actually, I think I got it wrong here. Systemize the predictable to humanize the exceptional. So that's what we want to do. What's repeatable, what's predictable, those are great things for digital customer success. Start by looking at those things where you're doing over and over and start applying some automated touch there. And so that can take you on that journey to digital customer success. And you're going to learn a lot. So as you build that full digital customer success journey, if that's what's important, then you'll be a lot more informed. You're going to pick the right tools. You're going to deliver the right journey. And then focus on humanizing the exceptional, just like those technical success managers. Now they're these experts who are really diving into what's unique for each customer, not what's similar. Okay, so go deeper. I want to give you a moment to grab this QR code. I have a lot of valuable tools. Let's see, this afternoon, I'm delivering a thriving in turbulent times customer success forum. It's really limited membership. It's no slide zone. And let's see, I had somebody share that they couldn't get in. So if you could send me, Jenny Washington, if you could send me a message on LinkedIn, I'll see what I can do to get you in. I've got my next one's in August. I've got a success plan template. I've got lots of great tools. You can check out my onboarding masterclass. But this is where, I've got blogs, videos, etc. So keep learning. I really want you to think about how will you transform your customer's business. I want to repeat, which Ralph was mentioned in the chat, transformation over information. Don't just jump a bunch of information on your customers. They're buying your product because they want to transform their business. So let's focus on that and deliver value to them, whether it's high touch, whether it's low touch, whether it's tech touch. Focus on delivering value. Because when customers win, you win. So here's all my information. You can email me, you can link in with me, you can Twitter with me, and I'm also on Threads now. So I look forward to continuing the conversation. So I'm going to hang out here and we'll get ready to do Q&A, and we got plenty of time to dive into that.
Very good, Donna. So Donna, I'm going to ask you stop sharing your screen. That way we can go full screen. And I will just prompt everybody, if you haven't made it over to the Q&A to ask your questions yet, please go drop those in and we'll pull up what we've gotten here already. Okay, so starting with the first one. So Jenny was asking if there was any openings for your session later today, which I think you talked through. Okay, so Rachel had asked, I'd like to hear some best practices about how you went about getting the community forums created among similar customer base and needs. Did you start with surveying customers for feedback, or did you just roll it out?
Now, thanks for your question, Rachel. I am no community expert, so I just want to say that. The main thing, what I do understand from communities, well, let me just say, first of all, what I know, regardless of a product or service, is you need to make sure that customers want and need it. So don't just go rolling something out and throwing it at your customers if they don't want or need it. So I would interview some customers and find out, hey, how would it be to have a customer community? What would you want? What kind of experience would you like? What would it do for you? And then two, my understanding is you don't just deploy a community and then build, there's a saying from a movie called The Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. I like to refute that by saying, if you build it, they won't come. So just because you have a community doesn't mean suddenly everyone's going to engage and it's going to create a digital experience and you don't have to do as much. You have to be really involved. You have to see the community. You have to guide the community. So there's a lot involved. It's not just a kind of you deploy it and you can step away. So I would look into any, Christy, do you know any resources for communities?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons out there, but I would also just, before we get into sharing tech stack and we could talk about those resources or assets or even places you can use to go build those, community doesn't mean forums. It doesn't mean you have to have a full built out community platform, right? Community is about orchestrating conversations and bringing your customers together. And there's a ton of different ways to do that. So I just want to make sure that everyone who's here, who's thinking about community, doesn't mean you have to go purchase a very expensive platform and build this out and requires all this overhead and monitoring. There's tons of ways to think about orchestrating community at very low cost in ways that are going to be super engaging and drive a ton of value for your customers. Now, if you are looking to learn more about community, I think the customer success community Gain, Grow, Retain is a wonderful resource just to kind of get some exposure to building a more formal community and then obviously understanding how it's orchestrated, things like that. There's a ton of resources over there. So I would just highly recommend that as a place to go learn a bit more and then just get some hands-on exposure because we're in customer success and you can go join and participate and engage with your peers there. So I would recommend that as the next step there if you're looking to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a great guidance, Christy. And then something, I have a video that it should come out next week about experimenting. I think in customer success, when I talk about concepts, there's an idea that we got to roll the whole thing out across the whole company and we got to get buy-in for everyone for everything. I encourage you to be curious and to experiment. What happens if we try this lower touch moment with this handful of customers? Let's have a hypothesis, which is basically having a question or an observation. Let's try this thing out with a handful of customers and see what we observe. I mean, so I encourage you to experiment and try things out rather than like, we got to deploy a whole new tech stack and transform everything for everyone. Just try stuff out.
And also to that point, because I couldn't agree more with you, Donna, like absolutely, you should be testing and trying before you start to go roll out more formal programs around this, because things might land, but might fall flat. I would definitely also just say, and just reiterate again, I hate when I feel like folks are trying to just perfect every little thing because they're scared of the unknown and what points of friction it could create. You've got to just test it. You have to take the leap and just go out there and try to do these things and not be fearful. I would not recommend investing in technology for a lot of this stuff out the gate. That's to scale, right? We think about technology as your kind of launch pad. Once you found something that works and you want to do it at scale, great, make those investments. There's tons of ways to test and try things without technology. So I would just also design a strategy and what you want to test and try before you just go run at this and try to over engineer it and strive for perfection. Like make a little progress, right? Like what is one little thing that you're doing today manually that you can automate? Right? Like what is one resource that you have been doing one-to-one that you can now create a one-to-many approach for? So take little bite-sized pieces of what you're doing today and think about ways to scale it. My team and I have been really hyper-focused on that instead of trying to figure out how do we go and shift our entire business to this like scaled approach and digitizing and pooled models and all of that, because that doesn't work for who we are and the customers that we serve. So instead of that approach, we've just been trying to find little moments in the journey to try to figure out what are ways that we can enhance the experience for both our employees and for our customers as well. So I would just kind of reiterate that is like, don't eat the elephant. All right, we've got another question here. So this is from Matthew, Donna. So this has been awesome. Thank you. Do you have any advice on how to get customers to engage more readily with self-service or onboarding materials?
Absolutely. And I get this question a lot, Matthew. And the thing is, likely customer-facing teams will point out these self-paced materials maybe once, maybe twice, right? Maybe 3 times. The reality is you need to tell them over and over and over and over. I've read that anywhere from 7 to 21 times. We've got to see the same content, the same information for us to really process it. So what I do is when I work with companies is we define very specifically, here's the journey. We show them the journey and we tell them what they need to do over and over and over, whether that's through email, whether that's through meetings. And you need to tell them right just today, just prior to our webinar, I'm working on an article about customer success is like going to the gym. And just like going to the gym, just because I've signed up does not mean I'm going to get any results. I'm not going to get a 6-pack abs. I'm not going to get in my bikini body, right? Just because I've signed up, I got to show up. I've got to, sweat. I've got to, feel some pain. I might curse. I might wake up swearing, right? But it takes some effort. And I believe in customer success, we have that responsibility to let our customers know their part in their success.
Very good. All right, we've got another question here. So this is from Blair. We have a number of hybrid strategies deployed, but our support model is also based on segments, SMB, mid-market, enterprise. Do you have a preferred approach by segment? We have scaled communications, newsletters, webinars, and more. Interested in your thoughts.
Blair, it's really hard to know without knowing your customers and your product. I'm just reading your question again. Mm-hmm. I mean, the is knowing your customers and knowing each segment and knowing what they need. It really depends, and knowing what the personas are. There might even be, let's say, it could even be dependent on personas. Like, let's say you have, let's go back to that data platform. Maybe data admins and data scientists really just want everything to be self-paced, which is really easy to scale. But the executives who are reading the dashboards and doing the analytics and wants the insights, they might need a high touch. So it's really important that you know. So you might need to do some discovery first.
Blair, don't forget, you don't have to only think about one approach to any of these segments. One of the things that we've done that's been really successful with our customers is give our customers options. So we've designed a bunch of different programs that allow them to almost like choose their own adventure. I have really large organizations that, guess what? Maybe they've deployed our product already, or they've deployed a competitive solution. So they're intimately familiar with how to do this and how to do it fast. And they have the resources to do it. They might just say, get out of my way, like empower me to move quickly and do what I have to do. Whereas otherwise, because of the segment they're in, I would think we'd be staffing this with a high engagement model, white glove, all the bells and whistles. But you want to give your customers options based on what they need to be successful without making assumptions. And so maybe you're introducing different offerings and letting them pick a little bit of a flavor that works for them. Not completely go off the cliff here and say everyone's going to have a unique framework, but say that there's some standardization by segment and offer some optionality where you think it's going to make sense or optimize their experience. Our customers love the resources that we've put together, and we give them access to these tools and resources so that they can move as fast or slow against the models that we've designed. So I think optionality is really great also, and allowing your customers to determine what's best for them in conjunction with whatever you've already prepared or designed.
I love the choose your own adventure. And, we all have different ways we prefer to learn. Like I much prefer to read an article than to watch a video, for example. Some people really need it. I'm also very a kinesthetic learner. I really need to learn by doing things. I've had kayak instructors where you just sit in an eddy, which is some still water on the river, and they just talk for hours. And like, I shut off after 2 minutes. I need to go out there and use my body and practice for it to really sink in. So, you need to know how your customers want to learn. And just like all of us are individuals, I love that kind of a la carte menu so they can learn in the way that most engages them.
Yeah, I think it's important because to your point, right? Like I don't want to read an article. I'd much rather watch a video and kind of do what I'm doing alongside of somebody else who's instructing me, as opposed to like reading it and trying to decipher. Like that's not how I work. And so you've got two people on the Zoom right now who both need different tools and different resources, and your customers are no different. So I think as you're deciding what is going to benefit them, start just thinking about also, can I create these things and make them available through different mechanisms? So like every piece of content you're creating for your customers, a great way to approach scale, create it in different formats, right? Like that's an easy way to win. Create it in writing, make a video, right? Like have some tutorial or pop up in product that's a guide. Think about the different ways that you can make these tools or information available to your customers to help them the way that they need to be helped.
Absolutely. So there's some great conversations going on in the chat. We've got some guidance around an email onboarding series. What if you're doing like an email series? I really recommend having some branching if possible. So, for example, I tried out a tool. Sometimes, so for example, just recently signed up for a tool and they just start throwing emails at me, right? And then I haven't even tried it out yet. And I literally just today unsubscribed. But this one company I tried with, it was branching depending on my behavior. So as a result, they need to know what the product usage is. And so if I didn't do the first thing, they kept reminding me. And then when I did that first thing, then they said, great, congratulations, you did that thing. Now here's the next thing to do. So that is more effective than just dumping a bunch of information on users and they're not even taking action.
Donna, do you want to share what that tool was that you used?
No.
Not the bad one, but the good one, the one that had the branching, the one that you were having a positive experience. Now not helpful. Okay, very good.
I'll tell you later why.
Okay. Regardless, I was just asking. I like good examples of people doing things well. All right. Anything else here? Anybody else have any additional questions for Donna that you want to drop in the Q&A so that we can ask our expert while we've got her?
And what about not just questions, but have you tried a hybrid customer success? What's working for you? So, have you done some high touch moments in a self-paced journey? Have you done some tech touch moments in an enterprise, white glove journey? Let's hear what's working for you.
Blair was talking about product tutorials that have been very helpful in saving their CSM's times, which I love.
What about Jan's asking, what are the biggest mistakes that you're making? So why don't you share that? The biggest mistakes that people make is they throw technology at problems. And Chrissy, I'm sure you see this all the time. Like
every day. They
get excited by, all the promises, and they don't even really know what the requirements are. They run out, they deploy technology, and guess what? 6 months later, they're ripping it out because it just causes more problem. So don't jump into technology. It starts with people, and then it's processes, and then it's technology. And that's why whenever I start something new, and I've done this when I've run organizations, and I do this now, that's what I share that experience with a learning management system, is I start doing something manually. It might be painful, but it really helps me to know what's working, what's not working. In addition, when you start something manual, so that is more of a higher touch, is that I can adjust it very quickly. Because once you roll out this kind of digital journey, it's going to take a lot to change it. So I give a very personal experience. 2, I intimately know what my requirements are. And 3, I can adjust it very quickly and easily. Then, like I said, I mapped out the process. What are all the manual things I need to do? Every time I create a new cohort for my orchestrated onboarding masterclass, from those requirements, it helped me from those processes, I was able to define. So once I built the processes, I was able to do it a little more quickly each time. But then I was able to define what my requirements are and look for the right solution. I deployed this solution, and now I'm more scale. I was able to scale my business. So the biggest mistake is not starting manually, not defining the process. And then the biggest mistake is looking at it from your perspective, like, oh, everyone's talking about communities. Let's roll out a community. Do your customers care? I worked with a company that provides accounting software, and everyone was internally like, let's do gamification. These are accountants. Internally, we need badges. And I interviewed the accountants. Would it help to have badges and gamification? And they're like, no, they just want to get in and get out of that software as fast as possible. They're accountants. So you really, really need to know your customers. Before you start any new initiatives, you need to be curious and find out what would work for them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Donna. I mean, that is so critical. I think I still see some folks try to take this like one size fits most or even fits all approach to customer success. And the reality of it is customer success should look unique to your business, right? Your product is different. Your market is different. Your customers are different. Where you are in your journey is different. So just because something worked for someone or somewhere else doesn't mean it's going to work where you are. So please get familiar with your customers, what they need, really hone in on what it is that you're trying to solve for, and get tight on that. Because I also see folks wanting to try new things, but they don't really have a clear understanding of what is the problem that they're solving for and how are they going to be measuring the success of this initiative. So please don't start these things until you have clarity around some of these fundamentals and even the workflow that Donna just mapped out. You want to be very methodical on what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then make sure it's the right thing for your business. Also the right time, right? It's not always, now might not be the day you need to start doing some digitization. If you've got high churn in a large enterprise organization, you're working with enterprise companies and you've got high churn and all this stuff, you don't want to now all of a sudden back off and make some big changes that might impact that for the worse. So just be very thoughtful. I know that we're always really excited to try new things, but that doesn't always make sense.
Yeah. And so be curious and step back and observe, observe what you're doing over and over, observe what your team is doing over and over, and just start to gather some data and some insights, create a hypothesis, which is basically a question, and then apply some kind of touch, some kind of, I'm trying to think, some kind of experiment, some type of, I'm trying to think of what the right word is, some kind of change. I think that's the word, some kind of change, and then see what results there are and start really, really small. And then you can start to expand it once you really know the impact.
My favorite approach, find some of your friendly customers to test things out with, where it's not going to be super disruptive to the partnership, but also where they feel like safe in giving you and providing you feedback. We've sometimes found that like our friendliest customers are the ones that really feel and view this as a partnership. They're the ones that are going to be eager and on board to helping us test and try new things, and also going to be a really great sounding board on what worked and what didn't. So perhaps even starting there will have less risk to the business. All right. Does anyone have additional questions, comments for our friend Donna?
So before we wrap up, I want to tell you, I want to say again, it's transformation, not information. And you want to systemize the predictable to humanize the exceptional. So let's all go out there and deliver those exceptional experiences. Stop doing that basic repeatable stuff. And I'd love to hear what you're doing on LinkedIn. So please link in with me or share in a post of some of your experiments, what you're trying out and what you're learning.
Very good. Well, I want to just thank everyone so much for your time today and carving out a little part of your day to spend with us. Don't forget, we're going to be back here next Tuesday, same time, same place, new content, new guests. But please make sure to go and follow and connect with Donna. She's been wonderful today. Donna, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights and your expertise with this community. We're all better because of it. So really grateful for your time today. Hopefully you all have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you all again soon.
See you
Bye,
next
everyone.
week. Bye, everyone. Thank you.